Hello, my name is Casey Hirsch. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, author, and founder of LightYourSparkle.life. I'm very excited today to be spending some time with Mary Sise. For over 2 decades, Mary has been a leading voice in advancing the field of energy psychology. In addition to being traditionally trained as a licensed clinical social worker, Mary integrates energy psychology methods into her practice and has trained hundreds of clinicians in these methods. She's earned her Diplomate in comprehensive energy psychology. Mary has pioneered methodologies and techniques while also advocating for expanding clinical understanding about the integral interrelationship of the mind, body, and spirit in the healing paradigm. She presents at conferences and develops training and coursework, especially in the areas of releasing negative beliefs, healing trauma and dissociation, and the role and responsibilities of the healer. Mary is past president of the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology, the international professional organization dedicated to training, research, and humanitarian work. In 2007, Mary co-authored the book, The Energy of Belief: Psychology's Power Tools to Focus Intention and Release Blocking Beliefs. This is a self-help book for the general public to learn how to use energy psychology methods of touch and breath, TAB. In 2020, to serve during the pandemic, Mary created a program called Tapping the Panic Out of Pandemic. This is simple and user-friendly, comes as an ebook, and demystifies tapping and the brain. It's now available on Kindle. In addition, Mary has been offering free Tapping Tuesdays and another program to help those impacted by COVID-19 quickly learn how to calm down their survival brain, tap into their intuition, and fearlessly navigate these uncertain times. Mary maintains a practice in Albany, New York, and I'm very excited to speak with her today and talk about energy psychology. Hello, Mary.
Hi, Casey. Thank you for having me. It's my joy to be here with everyone.
Thanks for being here. I'm curious now, can people who are non-licensed therapists, can they get trained in these techniques?
Yes. And to me, everybody on the planet should be trained in these techniques, like teachers, mothers. I mean, do you realize how our children are being traumatized by COVID-19, walking around people in masks, and parents are scared, everybody, they don't know what's happening, and the parents are scared. So they see their parents scared, and maybe their dad lost his job, and just everybody's being traumatized by this and by all the nutty stuff going on right about now, the fires, everything that's going on. So to me, everybody can get trained in this, okay? And should be trained in this. Teachers, quiet your classroom down. It's so easy. And to teach children how to do it. It's so, I mean, the little kids I work with are 7-ish. They tap 3 or 4 times a day, and they think it's cool. I mean, it's like, it's easy, okay? So everybody should be trained in it. That being said, there's actually a saying: a hammer is a great tool unless you use it on glass, okay? If you're a clinician, use it in your scope of practice, okay? So if you're a licensed social worker or a licensed person who's licensed and trained in trauma, not all social workers and psychologists and psychiatrists have trauma training. If you're gonna play around in trauma, you need to have good training in trauma and you have to know what you don't know, okay? Or you can really hurt somebody who's had a traumatic childhood, who's fractured, who's had to split off lots of parts of themselves, and we would call them dissociative or dissociative disorders. And so if you're gonna, as I said, use that tool on glass, then you really better be trained, because you can hurt people. And there's ways to do that. I actually have created training for them. I'm actually making some of it all now virtual, so that people can, around the world, anybody who wants to come and train can learn how to do this with multiply traumatized people, clients. So, but there's ways you can use it. Like, so if somebody comes to me and they've had a lot of childhood trauma, so I know they're really fragmented, I know what to look for. So then I use the tapping to visualize, like, just being alone in the house by themselves without being scared. I don't go near the traumas. I build them up and use it for stabilization and safety before I do the traumas with them. I use it to build a relationship with me, like, so they know I'm safe, they know my voice, they know, so that when it is time to go get the traumas in the right time of the therapy, then they know I'm a safe person, you see. So there's a whole way to do it in a safe way with traumatized people. So if you're not trained, you're not licensed, do not be doing this, especially with someone who's had uh, the trauma that's damaged the body. So any type of violence, a rape, any kind of childhood trauma like that, a car accident even, because they can flip back into a flashback at, you know, a vet. Please be trained to the utmost in trauma therapy and in this, you see. Because I've seen a lot of things happen that didn't serve the clients at all. And you know, that's why I'm pretty passionate about training people, and ACEP is passionate about that. And oftentimes I'll do this training there, but I'm actually going to make it virtual now so that anybody can take it. Yeah. And then I can show you, this is what you do in this stage. Here's how you evaluate to make sure you're being careful with this person. Yeah. But yeah, I think everybody should learn how to do it, just for their own mental hygiene and for their own energy systems and their own health, and to teach children. Please teach the children.
Wouldn't it be beautiful if people could come into this world with these techniques and they would just be part of them? So
Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
resource
Yeah.
that would just help kids all the way through their entire lifetime to be able
Yep.
to have this tool. And I appreciate you saying, Mary, what you just said about, you know, being trauma informed. I
Mm-hmm.
know personally there are incredible healers out there that are not licensed therapists, and it's the
Mm-hmm.
license does not make someone a great
Mm-mm.
healer. And by no
Mm-mm.
means would I ever say that. However, I have experienced these energy approaches that are the broad, you know, term energy approaches, because as we know, there's, like you say, many different techniques to choose from.
Right.
But I have experienced sessions where there was a healer whose intention was good, but they got very excited, their ego got involved, they wanted to go deeper and deeper, and they started, you know, pulling apart the trauma that was not within my consciousness. And fortunately, I had the resources, I had a therapist, I have a great support system, and I'm trained, so I was able to do some of that work to put myself back together again.
Mm-hmm.
But there can be harm done when
Mm-hmm.
people are operating outside of their scope.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's so, I think, you know, this, it feels so powerful and does feel like magic. And so I
Yeah.
think it's really easy to get caught up if you're a life coach or you're a yoga teacher, and maybe, you know, you see people who are struggling in
Mm-hmm.
your world. It's really, you know, it's, you want to, oh, what would happen if I helped them with this parenting skill? But now maybe if we talked about what happened to them when they were kids with their parents. So people really have to be careful. And
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that you're doing the trainings, and that the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology is also working on
Mm-hmm.
that end to make sure people are properly trained and how to, you know, stay within their ethics and within their scope. And so
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
techniques could continue to serve people
Mm-hmm.
for the greater good
Mm-hmm.
without harm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out, you know, where if I just tell somebody what happened to me, then I'll be all better. They don't realize you open that box, you open that door, and you could get flooded. And then, you know, it's too much. And then people could suicide. They could, and you could really be flooded if it's not in the right timing. And the other thing about being a healer in general is that a healer, a true healer, always has to do their work. You have to do your work. And the shadow side of the healer is the rescuer. And that's just something we always have to contend with. If you have the healer energy and you want to rescue, you want to fix, and oftentimes comes out of your own wounded childhood. It's part of the game. Okay. So it's part of being a healer, which means get supervision, be with somebody who can supervise you, can take you to the next level, can help you look at your blind spots so that you're not rushing in, you know, again, with the best intentions. You know, people, I don't think people's intentions are mean at all. There's some healers are like the most loving people I know, but they're clueless about timing and this and that and how they're hurting that person. Sometimes because they can't tolerate the energy, the emotion that's coming up, because maybe it's something like, for example, rage. When rage comes up, which is a natural part of trauma work, the healer has to be able to handle rage. You have to be able to work with your own rage and your own anger and your own energy. So in order to serve the other guy. So healers have to be in supervision. They have to uh, get help for themselves to really look at this, and if they're going to serve somebody else. Otherwise they can't. They hurt people. It hurts people, and gratefully you had space, the resources, but some people don't. Some people don't. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I completely agree. Some people don't have the resources. So this integration between, the personal work that we need to do as therapists licensed and healers who are not in the track of therapy, that there's this checks and balance on yourself doing your own personal work so that doesn't spill over, so that we're not triggered while we're doing the work, and then it becomes really confusing about what's happening. So healers know that they can access licensed therapists if it's time to, they see a client and maybe, because sometimes stuff comes out that they're not expecting, but that they know they can consult with, they can refer to a licensed therapist. I feel like I wish for there to be more integration between, not only because my big thing is the medical side with psychotherapy. I want to see more integration between those two parts, but I really also feel like there's just as strong of a need for there to be an integration between the healers and the psychotherapy community, so that we can all do what we're good at and help people, but that we can make sure that there's proper referrals and proper education on all fronts, so that the client's best interests are always at the front and center.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Mary, it has been so fun. I could spend so much more time with you. It's been an awesome time to just, talk to you about these things. And for people who are eager to learn more, maybe participate in some of your trainings, where can they go find more about your work?
Right on my website, Mary Sise, S-I-S-E, it's easy, marysise.com. So all the information's there. There's things they can free download things and charts and things they can get from there. Free tapping Tuesdays, at least for a while. We're going to continue to do that while this COVID thing is hanging out, and we're having fun with it. So, yeah. So, and anyone's a therapist, come and train, have to be supervised, whatever we can do to serve you. That's my joy.
Great. Thank you so much.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much.